Understanding the history of modern India is a complex and fascinating endeavor. It is a journey that takes us through centuries of rich and diverse cultural, social, and political transformations. From the ancient civilizations of the Indus Valley to the grandeur of the Mughal Empire, and from the colonial rule of the British to the vibrant democracy of today, India's history is a tapestry woven with countless threads. It requires us to grapple with diverse perspectives and interpretations. Historians often find themselves in heated debates, each bringing their own viewpoint to the table. These discussions are crucial as they help us understand the multifaceted nature of India's past. This is where historiography comes in. Historiography is not just about recording events. It is about understanding the context in which these events were recorded. It involves analyzing the biases, intentions, and backgrounds of those who wrote history. Historiography is the study of how history is written, who writes it, and from what perspective. It challenges us to question the sources of our historical knowledge and to consider the power dynamics at play in the creation of historical narratives. Modern Indian history, in particular, has been shaped by a variety of historiographical approaches. These approaches range from the colonial accounts that often portrayed India through a Eurocentric lens to the nationalist narratives that emerged during the struggle for independence. Each offers a unique lens through which we can understand the events and processes that have shaped India since the arrival of European powers. From colonial accounts to nationalist narratives, Marxist analyses to subaltern voices, each perspective adds a layer of depth to our understanding. These approaches provide us with a rich tapestry of perspectives. The Marxist approach, for instance, focuses on class struggles and economic factors, while subaltern studies highlight the experiences of marginalized groups. By examining these different approaches, we can gain a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of India's journey to modernity. It is through this multifaceted lens that we can truly appreciate the complexity and richness of India's historical tapestry. The colonial period, marked by British rule, had a profound impact on the writing of Indian history. This era, spanning nearly 2 centuries, saw the British Empire exerting its influence over the Indian subcontinent, reshaping its social, economic, and political landscapes. Colonial historians, often British administrators and scholars, viewed India through a specific lens. They approached Indian history with a sense of superiority, believing that their own civilization was more advanced, and that it was their duty to document and improve the societies they governed. They saw India as a land of ancient wisdom, but also as a society in need of modernization and progress, a progress they believed only British rule could provide. This belief was reflected in their writings, which often highlighted the so-called civilizing mission of the British Empire. This perspective, known as the imperialist or colonial approach, emphasized British achievements in India, such as the establishment of law and order, the introduction of modern education, and the development of infrastructure. They credited the British with bringing railways, telegraphs, and a unified legal system, portraying these as gifts to a previously backward society. Prominent colonial historians like James Mill and Vincent Smith presented British rule as a benevolent force that brought order to a chaotic land. Their works often depicted the British as saviors who rescued India from centuries of stagnation and decline. Their narratives often downplayed the exploitative aspects of colonialism and the agency of Indians in shaping their own history. They minimized the economic exploitation, the drain of wealth, and the social disruptions caused by British policies. Moreover, they overlooked the vibrant resistance movements and the contributions of Indian leaders who fought for their country's independence. This selective portrayal created a skewed version of history that served to justify and legitimize British rule in the eyes of both the colonizers and the colonized. As India moved towards independence, a new generation of historians emerged who challenged the colonial narrative. These historians were not just scholars, they were visionaries who sought to rewrite history from an Indian perspective, breaking free from the shackles of colonial interpretations that had long dominated the discourse. This nationalist school of historiography sought to reclaim India's past and present it from an Indian perspective. They delved deep into ancient manuscripts, unearthed forgotten texts and brought to light the stories and achievements that had been overshadowed by colonial narratives. Their work was not just academic, it was a mission to restore national pride and identity. Nationalist historians emphasized India's rich cultural heritage, its glorious past, and its struggle for freedom from colonial rule. They celebrated the architectural marvels, the vibrant festivals, and the profound philosophies that had flourished in India for millennia. By doing so, they aimed to instill a sense of pride and continuity in the Indian people, connecting them to their illustrious heritage. They highlighted the exploitative nature of colonialism and the sacrifices made by Indians in the fight for independence. Through meticulous research and passionate writing, they documented the economic drain, the social injustices, and the political subjugation that characterized colonial rule. Their narratives were a tribute to the countless freedom fighters who had laid down their lives for the cause of independence. Key figures in this school included Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, and historian R.C. Majumdar. Nehru's writings and speeches were instrumental in shaping the national consciousness, while Majumdar's scholarly works provided a robust academic foundation for the nationalist historiography. Together, they inspired a generation to look at their history with renewed respect and admiration. They argued that India had a long and proud history before the arrival of the British, and that the national movement was a testament to the resilience and spirit of the Indian people. By reclaiming their narrative, they not only challenged the colonial distortions, but also laid the groundwork for a future where Indians could take pride in their past and draw strength from it to build a better future. The Marxist approach to Indian history emerged in the mid-20th century, influenced by the ideas of Karl Marx. Marxist historians view history through the lens of class struggle, analyzing the economic and social forces that shape historical events. They argue that colonialism was not just about political control, but also about economic exploitation. British policies, they contend, led to the underdevelopment of India's economy and the impoverishment of its people. Marxist historians like R.P. Dutt and Bipin Chandra emphasized the role of peasant and working-class movements in the struggle against colonialism. They saw the Indian national movement as a reflection of these broader class struggles, culminating in the creation of an independent India. Section 5 Voices from Below: The Subaltern Challenge. In the 1980s, a new wave of historical scholarship emerged, known as subaltern studies. Led by historians like Ranajit Guha and Partha Chatterjee, this approach challenged the elitist biases of earlier historiographies. Subaltern historians argued that previous approaches, whether colonial, nationalist, or Marxist, had largely ignored the voices and experiences of ordinary people, particularly those at the bottom of the social hierarchy. They focused on recovering the histories of marginalized groups such as peasants, workers, tribals, and women. They examined their everyday lives, their struggles, and their forms of resistance, offering a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of the Indian past. Section 6 Beyond the Big Four: Exploring Other Lenses. While the colonial, nationalist, Marxist, and subaltern approaches are considered the major schools of modern Indian historiography, several other important perspectives have enriched our understanding. The communalist approach examines history through the lens of religious communities, often highlighting tensions and conflicts between them. The Cambridge School, associated with historians like Anil Seal and David Washbrook, offered a more nuanced view of colonialism, emphasizing its regional variations and the role of Indian collaborators. Liberal historians, such as Sarvepalli Gopal, focused on the role of ideas and individuals in shaping historical events, while feminist historians have brought to light the experiences and perspectives of women in Indian history. Section 7. The Importance of Multiple Perspectives Toward a Nuanced Understanding. Each of these historiographical approaches offers valuable insights into the complexities of modern Indian history. By engaging with these diverse perspectives, we can move beyond simplistic narratives and develop a more comprehensive understanding of the past. The colonial perspective, though often biased, helps us understand the justifications and ideologies that underpinned colonial rule. The nationalist perspective highlights the aspirations and struggles of a people seeking self-determination. The Marxist approach draws attention to the economic and social inequalities that have shaped India's history, while the subaltern perspective reminds us of the importance of giving voice to the marginalized and the silenced. As Section 8. Conclusion. History as a conversation. Understanding the various approaches to modern Indian historiography is essential for anyone seeking to grapple with the complexities of India's past. History is not a monolithic or static entity, but rather an ongoing conversation, a dynamic process of interpretation and reinterpretation. By engaging with different perspectives, questioning assumptions, and considering alternative viewpoints, we can enrich our understanding of the past and its relevance to the present. As we continue to explore the rich tapestry of modern Indian history, it is crucial to remember that no single narrative can fully capture the complexities of the human experience.